Stevie Wonder is an American musician and a former child prodigy who has become one of the most creative musical figures of the 20th century, with hits like My Cherie Amour, You Are the Sunshine of My Life, and Superstition. Stevie Wonder made his recording debut at age 11, becoming a 1960s force to be reckoned with, via chart hits like Fingertips, Part 2, I Was Made to Love Her, and My Cherie Amour. Over the next decade, Wonder had an array of #1 songs on the pop and R&B charts, including Superstition, You Are the Sunshine of My Life, and Higher Ground. He continued to churn out hits into the 80s, including I Just Got to Say I Love You and Part-Time Lover. Early life. Wonder was born Steve Ladd Hadaway Judkins on May 13, 1950 in Saginaw, Michigan. He was born 6 weeks early with retinopathy of prematurity, an eye disorder which was exacerbated when he received too much oxygen in an incubator, leading to blindness. Wonder showed an early gift for music, first with a church choir in Detroit, Michigan, where he and his family moved to when he was 4 years old, and later with a range of instruments, including harmonica, piano, and drums, all of which he taught himself before age 10. Motown discovery. Wonder was just 11 years old when he was discovered by Ronnie White of Motown band The Miracles. An audition followed with Motown founder Berry Gordy Jr., who did not hesitate to sign the young musician to a record deal. In 1962, the newly renamed Little Stevie Wonder, working with Motown songwriter Clarence Poe, among others, released his debut, The Jazz Soul of Little Stevie Wonder, an instrumental album that showed off the youngster's remarkable musicianship. The same year, he also released tribute to Uncle Ray, where Wonder covered the song of soul icon Ray Charles. Wonder then developed a major audience with Little Stevie Wonder, the 12-year-old genius, an album recorded live. The set's edited single, Fingertips, Part 2, became Wonder's first #1 song, reaching the top of both the R&B and pop charts. Songs and albums. Uptight, Everything Is Alright. Rather than rest on his laurels, the hard-working Wonder, who would go on to study musical piano, pushed to improve his musicianship and songwriting capabilities. After dropping Little from his stage name in the mid-1960s, he churned out the top 5 pop singles, Uptight, Everything Is Alright, which reached #1 on the R&B charts. For Once in My Life. Wonder scored 2 more #1 R&B hits with cover of Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind, and the jubilant I Was Made to Love Her, with the latter reaching #2 on the pop charts. The 1968 album For Once in My Life offered even more successful singles with the title track Shooby Dooby Doo Da Day and You Met Your Match, with Wonder serving as co-writer on all 3 songs. Signed, Sealed, Delivered. The following year saw the release of My Cherie Amour, with the romantic top 5 pop, R&B title ballad, as well as the top 5 R&B Yester Me, Yester You, Yesterday. Wonder would remain a consistent hit maker over the next 2 decades, with the artist co-producing 1970s Signed, Sealed, Delivered. The album featured the #1 R&B title track and a top 5 R&B cover of the Beatles, We Can Work It Out. The 1970s, an acclaimed decade, due in part to innate talent, but also because of his deep commitment to his craft. Wonder faced the difficulty of staying relevant as a musician as he grew from boy to man and his voice matured into a shiny tenor. In 1971, Wonder negotiated a contract with Motown that gave him almost total control over his record and greatly increased his royalty rate. It was an unprecedented concession by Gordy, but artistically, just what Wonder needed. As the 1970s unfolded, the musician went through an unraveled period of production. 1971's Where I Am Coming From, with its groovy top 10 single, If You Really Love Me, marked the first time Wonder had writing or co-writing credits for every song on the album. 1972's Music of My Mind offered the top 20 R&B, top 40 pop single Superwoman, Where Were You When I Needed You, an emotionally rich jazz soul opus that highlighted Wonder's pioneering work in synthesized electronic sounds. Superstition and You Are the Sunshine of My Life. His 1972 album Talking Book offered 2 #1 hits, the jaunty funk jam Superstition and You Are the Sunshine of My Life, a smile-inducing ode to love that exemplified Wonder's ability as a romanticist. Inner Visions. Next up was Inner Visions, a meditative concept album that was simultaneously introspective. political, critical, and full of wit. The record featured two socially conscious #1 R&B hits, Higher Ground and Living for the City, as well as the humorous Don't You Worry About a Thing, which reached #2 on the R&B charts. All three singles fared well on the pop chart as well. Fulfillingness First Final, released after Wonder had survived a serious car accident that left him in a coma, displayed his trademark odes to romance and beauty, while also looking squarely at spirituality and death. Wonder created a song that railed against President Richard Nixon, You Haven't Done Nothing, which reached #1 on both the pop and R&B charts and featured the Jackson 5. Boogie and Reggae Woman went to #1 on the pop chart as well, while the album track Creeping and They Won't Go When I Go were eventually covered by Luther Vandross and George Michael, respectively. Songs in the Key of Life. Even with the array of accomplishments, it was the double album with EP set songs in the Key of Life that many have hailed as Wonder's most legendary project and one of the greatest records of all time, offering a rich span of songs with genre fusions aplenty. Songs covered everything from ethnic diversity in the US and fantastic utopian communities to vengeful relationships and transcendent love. Songs had two pop R&B #1 singles, both up-tempo, the Duke Ellington tribute, Sir Duke, and the Back in the Day PN, I Wish. Wonder had additional top 40 hits with Another Star and Us, with the harmonica leading Isn't She Lovely, though not a charting single, nonetheless became a radio mainstay as it heralded the cherished birth of a daughter. During this era, Wonder was working with other artists as well, including Minnie Riperton, the mother of Maya Rudolph, and the band Rufus, with Chaka Khan's vocal heard on the Wonder-penned top 5 track, Tell Me Something Good. Over the years, other artists struck gold with Wonder's remark, as seen with Aretha Franklin's #1 R&B cover of Until You Come Back to Me, That's What I'm Gonna Do. Among other array of honors, Wonder captured 15 Grammy Awards during the decade, with Inner Visions, Fulfillingness, First Final, and Song in the Key of Life, each recognized as Album of the Year. Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. By those incredible lofty standards, the 1980s were not nearly as successful for Wonder. Still, he continued to be a huge musical force. He ended the 70s with the double album Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants, an avant-garde set of unreleased botanical documentary featuring the top 5 pop R&B ballad, Send One Your Love, Hotter Than July. 1980s Hotter Than July was a more succinct commercial affair with the disco track All I Do, as well as the #1 R&B hit Master Blaster, Jammin', a reggae-influenced tribute to Bob Marley, and the top 5 R&B country-influenced #1, I Ain't Gonna Stand For It, Ebony and Ivory. In 1982, Wonder teamed up with ex-Beatle Paul McCartney for the #1 US-UK single Ebony and Ivory, a song promoting racial harmony that was featured on the McCartney album Tug of War. Original Musicarium, I. That same year, Wonder also released his greatest hits compilation, Original Musicarium I, which featured the #1 R&B top 5 pop single, That Girl, as well as additional hits, Rhythm in the Sky and Do I Do, featuring Dizzy Gillespie. I Just Called to Say I Love You. In 1984, Wonder released the soundtrack for the Gene Wilder film The Woman in Red, which featured contributions from Dionne Warwick, as well as the top 5 R&B hits, Love Light in Flight, and the massive #1 pop single, I Just Called to Say I Love You. Like so much of Wonder's work, the song appealed to a wide audience, paving the way for it to become Motown's biggest international hits of all time. The single also won Wonder an Academy Award for Best Original Song. Part-Time Lover. Wonder released his next album, Square Circle, in 1985, which featured the historic track Part-Time Lover, the first song to ever reach #1 on the pop, R&B, adult contemporary, and dance charts. Characters. The album Character was released 2 years later, featuring two #1 R&B hits, Skeletons and You Will Know. In 1989, Wonder was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jungle Fever. Wonder continued his soundtrack contributions with his work for 1991 Spike Lee film Jungle Fever, starring Wesley Snipes and Annabella Sciorra. For the Jungle Fever album, Wonder composed 3 and top 10 R&B singles, Gotta Have You, Fun Day, and These 3 Words. Conversation Piece. A few years later, Wonder released Conversation Piece, its first single, The Easy Going for Your Love, reached the top 20 R&B and earned 2 Grammys in 1996. The same year, he received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Advocacy work. In addition to his acclaimed artistry, Wonder has routinely tackled social issues through his music and appearances. He successfully spearheaded a movement to create a national holiday recognizing the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a celebration he sang about in his track Happy Birthday. From Hotter Than July, Happy Birthday became a major UK hit as well, reaching number 2. Wonder had dedicated his Oscar win to anti-apartheid activist Nelson Mandela and had performed on the number 1 charity singles We Are the World to raise money for famine relief in Africa, and that's what friends are for, with Warwick, Elton John and Gladys Knight, benefiting the American Foundation for AIDS Research. Wonder had also been a long-time advocate for improving services for the blind and those with disabilities. In connection with the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, he was named a United Nations Messenger of Peace in 2009. In June 2013, Wonder continued his advocacy work when he announced he will make good a promise to perform a concert in Marrakesh for negotiators from the World Intellectual Property Organization when they agreed on an international treaty providing blind and visually impaired individuals around the world with more access to books. Honors. Following a 10-year hiatus, Wonder released the well-received A Time to Love in 2005 with guest appearance from India, Ari, Doug E. Fresh, McCartney, Bonnie Wright and Prince, among others. Wonder also put out the concert DVD Live at Last, A Wonder's Summer Night in 2009. In 2014, Wonder received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama. The following year, the singer, songwriter, musician was paid tribute by a pantheon of performers on the telecast Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, an All-Star Grammy salute recognizing his classic 1976 album. Later music. Wonder occasionally surfaced with new music as he progressed through his late 60s, recording the Golden Globe nominated single Fate with Ariana Grande in 2016, as well as the song Future Sunny Days, specially written for the 2018 final of the hit series Scandal. Personal life. Wonder married fellow Motown singer-songwriter Cherie Wright in 1970. Divorcing 2 years later, a skilled lyricist, she worked with Wonder on hits like Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I Am Yours, and If You Really Love Me, while he worked with Wright on her album Syreeta 1972 and Stevie Wonder Presents Syreeta 1974. Wright died of cancer in 2004. Wonder had his first child, Aisha, with Yolanda Simmons in 1975. His daughter was the inspiration for Isn't She Lovely? The couple had a son, Keita, who was born in 1977. In 1983, he had a son, Mumtaz, with Melody Macaulay. Wonder had a daughter, Sophia, and son, Kwame, with a woman whose name has not been publicized. Wonder married Karen Miller Morris in 2001. The couple had 2 sons, Kayland and Mandla, before their divorce was finalized in 2015. Wonder began a relationship with Tomika Robin Bracey. The couple had 2 children before tying the knot in 2017. Hi, thanks for watching to the end. I hope this video has been informative and entertaining. If you like this video and you would like to see more content like this, kindly like, share, leave a comment in the comment section, and also please subscribe to this channel if you have not already subscribed yet. Thanks for watching to the end. Have a nice day and look out for the next video.